Chief, we're live.
We are live.
10:30 a.m. I'm going to call the special meeting to order for Fire District 21. And we will start with a roll call.
Scott Fisher.
John Crawford.
Rich Gossman.
Bruce Ansel.
Jason Vanderveen.
And then Dave Hansen with District 4.
So we have a pretty big agenda here today. And although the governor's proclamation doesn't allow for public comment, we felt it was important to extend an invitation. District 4's chair, Mr. Hansen, and his legal representatives, the Quinns, to discuss our District 4 correspondence letter that we received like right before our meeting last time. They were talked about briefly at their meetings, and then they were given to the chief, who passed them on to us. So it was kind of a last minute thing that we saw, and it raised some concerns by our board as we hopefully move forward with our RFA resolution. And so we have extended a brief opportunity.
That's fair.
Make sure that we're clear about that. For the Quinns and Mr. Hansen to maybe give us a rundown on these two letters that were sent to our board regarding, and I hate to use the word termination of the interlocal agreement, but those words probably had maybe a different meaning to us than the intent was when it was drafted. So I don't know who wants to start first. It's my understanding that Mr. Quinn, you helped pen this document.
Right. I'll go first because of that. It was, the District 4 board got me involved, and it was actually a referral from Rich Davis. I see Rich. Hello, Rich. How are you? When they referred me, I think I really haven't learned anything different than what Rich told me or what Dave Hansen has told me, and that is that these two parties have worked together for years. And I think the chief said it this morning at the District 4 meeting, as well as anybody can say it. And it's what I've been saying all along. It looks to me like these are two logical parties to continue working together in some way, whether it's a merger of fire districts, whether it's the formation of a regional fire authority. You folks are natural allies and have been working successfully together for years. But at the same time, the board told me, well, there's some issues with the current ILA. And what the point that I wanted to get across this morning after our meeting with District 4 and the chief this morning was that any discussion of termination of the current ILA and negotiating a new ILA is really sort of a plan B. It's a backup plan, if you will. And it's what Dave Hansen referred to this morning as a bridge, a transition. There has to be something to operate under while you hopefully, as you just said, move forward. If you hopefully move forward, I think the way is a regional fire authority. And that's why it looks like both boards now have passed resolutions to start a planning committee and get going on serious talks for a regional fire authority. So everything else is just legal. I don't want to say just legal. I'm a lawyer, right? But it's really just required by the terminology of the contracts that you have had in place. You can't form a new ILA and negotiate a new ILA unless you deal with the current ILA in some formal way. But it's nothing more than a bridge or a transition to get you to where you want to go, which is really a true combination, not a contract consolidation like you have now, but a true formation of one entity. Whether you end up with a merger of one fire district into another, or whether you end up with an RFA, which is probably plan A, it makes no difference. You might not. This is the backup plan, nothing more, nothing less. And as I said at the meeting this morning, in very few words for an attorney, I said basically, it's a backup plan. Move forward with your planning committee. But if it doesn't work, there's things that can happen. I've seen them happen. I think Rich has seen them happen with planning committees that tried to form an RFA where it looked like a great marriage, but it just never went together. I was part of a planning committee advisory role for Bremerton, the city of Bremerton and the surrounding area, and it just never went together, and it should have, but it didn't. And I've been a party as advisor to mergers of small fire districts where it didn't get together just because of one person, but it should have. And in your case, it should go together. But what if it doesn't? That's all this termination language is about. You can't form a new ILA to be your bridge until you terminate the old ILA. That's all. It's a legal requirement. It wasn't meant to signify that, boy, they're unhappy with us and that board is just not happy with District 21's board. That's not at all what it's saying. It's just a legal requirement, okay? So my thought and my message to you on behalf of Dave Hansen, and Dave's on the call, he's on the Zoom meeting, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but our goal is to move forward, hopefully, like you just said, Chair, and I think that the two boards really both want this. From what I can see, you've got two boards that could work together as a planning committee of 6 under the law and form an RFA. There's no good reason that I can see, such as labor strife or anything like that. You don't have those issues, apparently. I don't know yet what issues you will have, but they're not insurmountable. Okay, so that's my brief speech. I could give a much longer lawyerly speech than that.
Well, that was pretty good. I appreciate your brevity and explanation. Just FYI for our board, District 4 held a special meeting this morning where they discussed some of the issues surrounding these letters, as well as passed their resolution 2020-2 forming a regional fire authority committee. So District 4 has a resolution now, and we have one on our agenda to discuss and hopefully pass as well today. I'm going to give Dave Hansen a couple minutes here if he has anything to say. If not, we're going to cut you out of our meeting, both you and the Quins, and move on with the rest of our agenda.
I appreciate that. And I think Joe put it very well, kind of where we're at. We appreciate the time to be able to just have a few minutes this morning. But on that note, I know you do have a full agenda and you also have other lives. So I have nothing further unless anybody has something for me.
Does anyone on our board have any specific questions to address to Dave Hansen or Mr. Quinn?
We'll take that as no.
Can you hear me okay?
John Crawford is on now.
All right.
I got a lot of questions, Dave, but I think it'd be best that we don't do it here on YouTube. So
Yeah.
anytime you want to sit down face to face and talk about some of the issues, I'll make myself open to you.
John, I appreciate that. I think it would be really good that we do that. These Zoom meetings and these letters just don't do it. And I definitely have some concerns that I'd like to address with you. So that's great. I'll get hold of you.
Sounds good.
Or likewise, you've got my numbers too. Thanks.
Perfect. Rich or Scott, anything from you?
No.
I
Been a long time, Scott.
saw a head shake no from
No.
Mr. Bosman. Okay, very good. No offense to you guys, but we're going to cut you loose. I appreciate you taking the time to meet you for one, and I look forward to a smooth RFA process.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, here we are, one big happy family once again. Thank you all for your patience. I guess we're still on the correspondence piece. I did listen to District 4's meeting this morning at 9 o'clock. I thought that it went very well, and I feel that Mr. Quinn's explanation about those letters, although they may have rubbed us the wrong way a bit to begin with. I guess legally I understand what the intent was. It is hard under these circumstances with Zoom meetings to read between the lines. It's like when someone sends you a text message and it means exactly opposite of what they actually texted you, and then everybody gets upset and off we go. The key piece for me, the takeaway this morning, was that they signed their resolution to start the planning committee and indicated that the RFA is the most important thing, and the ILA issues could be a bridge if there were certain specific things that need to be worked out. But the focus for us, and hopefully for them, is to get this planning committee up and running. And if we get that done, we don't even need an ILA. So let's move on. Comments, questions, concerns?
So you're talking about keeping the current ILA in place?
The current ILA will
Suffice while we're trying to form an
Well, yeah, Chief, I don't think I'm interested in spending a whole lot of energy working on a bridge agreement if we're moving positively in the RFA. It just seems like
That is,
a lot of extra wasted time.
and that is my understanding, and that's what I heard this morning, and that's what I believe we're going to see out of the District 4 board wholeheartedly, that the effort is going to be on the RFA planning process. As if needed, the bridge is plan B, just as Mr. Quinn said. And I am not seeing anything from the board at District 4 that says they don't want to be good partners in an RFA. I truly believe that that the bridge agreement, like I said, that they were talking about, or the renegotiated ILA, is just it's a what if. It's a if it fails, and it's going to take more than, we have a current ILA we have a current ILA, and that stands until it gets replaced. So it's not like we're going to be without anything if the worst were to happen. It's just that they want to start working in the background on the what if we need to go there.
And I think it's important for us to at least be aware of their concerns now and figure out if there's any way to work through those. We all know that the financing piece is going to be an issue come maybe October, towards the end of the year, and there's specific guidelines as to how that's supposed to work currently, and we're probably going to have to be flexible when it comes to that and figure out a way to get around that strict 25% payment option come the end of this year. So that's just one example of where we might have to be a little flexible. Is that fair, Chief, to say?
Yes, I think so. And I know that District 4 recognizes that as well. And that was obviously a concern that was brought forward to both you and I, that, would we just cast them free if they weren't able to meet their obligations? And obviously the answer is no. We're partners in this thing. And just like I said at the District 4 meeting, I think what's most important is that we remember what the focus is, and that's service delivery to our customers in the end. And if a partnership is the best thing, which I believe it is, then we gotta, we may have to swallow, our individual thoughts and prejudices about things, or give a little grace to another person so that we can move forward and do what's best for the taxpayer.
Comments?
And if I'm out of line on any of my personal statements, feel free to give me my lumps later.
All right, if there's no further comments, I will move on to the next item of business. Are we good?
We're good.
All right. So we go back, we had a lot of unfinished business. The first item on the list would be the Whatcom County Paramedic Training Interlocal Agreement. There was a draft sent out a long time ago, and apparently there's a final version of that now. I haven't had an opportunity to strictly compare the draft with what the final one is. Does anyone here have any issues or comments with, this is the one between District 21 and the county, not us in Bellingham. We'll talk about that one next. Mr. Davis, you had an opportunity to review that ILA with the county.
Yeah, we worked on both of these interlocals.
Okay. So like I said, I didn't get a chance to review it. The biggest piece for me was the reimbursement for wages, which that issue came up when I read the ILA between us and the city of Bellingham, and there was some wording in there that was not clear, knowing that it's addressed in the county's interlocal agreement. For example, in the Bellingham one, it says we're responsible for wages. But the ILA with the county says they will pay our wages. So there maybe has to be a reference somewhere in there that refers to this document. But the rest of it looks like legalese to me. No offense, Mr. Davis. You didn't see any red flags or anything that was.
No, just as you said, the two agreements go together. Whatcom County reimburses the district for its, the out of cost while these individuals are in medic school. So, they both go together. And we talked at one point about just having a single agreement, but there were reasons that we were given that didn't make sense. We have two separate agreements. One to send them off to the paramedic program with the city of Bellingham, and then the Whatcom County agreement, which is really a reimbursement agreement.
And the duration of this agreement, is it got a sundown, or the only reason I ask is because as our wage scale changes, I don't believe there's a multiplier in here that says that we would pay an equivalent if, like, say, for instance, we did this next year. Would that 103 go up, or would we have to renegotiate a contract for
it? Commissioner, I was looking around for this agreement and I cannot find the final copy. I thought it was the actual costs that we paid. I don't know, Chief, if you know it offhand.
It's up to 103,000 per year, not per year, per individual that we're replacing. It's meant as work replacement for the the students. And this agreement, if our number 5 on this agreement, effective date, duration, withdrawal, and termination, is that it continues through February 1st, 2021. So it only lasts, this agreement between the county and District 21 only lasts for this paramedic school class.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, I see it now. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I mean, for some reason, I don't want to get stuck in a perpetual ILA where we find out that are going to be problems in the future. And so if this one expires after the end of this class, then we would be able to renegotiate what the reimbursement would
Correct.
be. Okay.
Yes.
Any comments on that? Anyone else have any issues? If there's not, then and it's been reviewed by legal, do we want to just go ahead and approve the signing of this ILA then? And who's going to sign it, Chief? You?
Yes, it's got a signature line for myself on it.
Good, just you. So I will entertain a motion from the board to authorize the chief to sign the interlocal agreement for paramedic training between Whatcom County and Fire District 21.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. So Chief, we'll go ahead and let you sign that one.
Yep.
And then we'll move on to the City of Bellingham paramedic training interlocal agreement. No, where do I start? Again, Mr. Davis, you have reviewed this document. I'm
This is the one
curious.
that Matt Paxton worked on, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, I reviewed it as well, though.
So does anyone have any questions or concerns about this before I get started? Okay, I'll take silence as none. So again, this agreement is between the City of Bellingham and Whatcom District 21. When we started this paramedic training opportunity, the concept was that we were going to provide an opportunity for our employees to apply for and become medics in Whatcom County under the direction of Bellingham to some degree, and they were going to work for Bellingham as medics, but they would remain employees of District 21. Having come from King County's program, I had concerns about who the employer was going to be and the details of discipline and wages and all that kind of stuff. And we were kind of under the gun to get these two people into training, and I'm going to say maybe learned a valuable lesson here that we move forward with giving these two individuals an opportunity to do this without a formal written agreement. And now we're kind of stuck, because what's going to happen per this agreement is when the training is over, we lose these two employees to the City of Bellingham. In my mind, that's not what I originally thought was going to happen. I understand why, and I've had long conversations with the chief about this. I guess for my own benefit, want to say I hope I am never in a position again to where we do something before we have the contract in place. And to me, this is a good example why we need to make sure we're diligent in that. So you guys all understand what this means is when school's done, these guys are gone for good. The way it's written now.
And Commissioner Ansel, if I could add something.
Sure.
I too need to take responsibility for kind of the where we're at today. I pushed as hard, if not harder than anybody, for this opportunity for the department. I as well, having at a past life as a labor leader, had a lot of concerns about it. But I thought they were going to be able to be overcome. They were not able to be overcome to what I thought they could be. And so we're here where we're at, and it's not, I don't see it as all bad. I am going to push my labor group for a pathway back for these folks. Those of us that have been in the fire service know that oftentimes paramedics rise to leadership positions within the department. I would love for that opportunity for this department to have that opportunity for these guys to come back or gals to come back into the fold. There's a lot of people that retire as medics, but anymore today, I think you see just as many paramedics that come back to the fireside. They come back into leadership positions, not within the medic program. And I'm truly hoping, and I think that we could get people back because they love this agency, they love this area. But I just wanted to go on the record and say that I too have learned a valuable lesson. I've learned a lot talking to Commissioner Ansel as well as talking to Chief Hewitt. And I just wanted to take my part of responsibility for how we got to this point.
Comments? All right, so I would like to go through a couple items, and starting with item 3, selection subject to availability and an established process. And I know that I've talked with the chief about these issues, and he's been working with the city of Bellingham, Chief Hewitt, on some of these concerns. For example, in item 3, it specifies the selection process and sort of what the requirements are, and the wording used was certain prior firefighter training, which to me isn't very definitive. And I think it would be helpful to have that defined a little more closely, and the chief has worked with some language that would make that a little bit more specific. And I look at this from what would a candidate say? Well, I have certain prior training, I should be allowed, and so they get excluded because they didn't have the certain training that maybe the chief or the chief of Bellingham thought they should have. So I would like to see that defined a little more carefully. In addition to an experience requirement as an EMT, I don't know what an experience requirement working as an EMT means either. It would be nice if that was specified as either a type of training program or a number of hours or years riding a busy aid car or whatever it may be. But just an experience requirement to me is somewhat nebulous. And the last one was the probationary thing, but I think that one speaks for itself. So, and then the item 4 talks about wages. It says that the home agency pays the wages. Because we have an ILA with the county for them to pay wages, I would hope that maybe we could reference that in this paragraph, Mr. Davis, that although we're responsible for the wages, maybe per the ILA agreement with Whatcom County, would some language like that be appropriate to insert in there so that the county could say, hey, you agreed to do the wages, we don't have to do them anymore.
We could do that. Yeah, we could have a reference to the county interlocal.
I'll do the insurance one next, just because I got you on the line here, Mr. Davis. Under item 9, the second one, and it's just my own probably misunderstanding or stupidity when it comes to reading insurance requirements, but can you explain to me what a liability insurance policy covering all owned and non-owned automobiles or vehicles used by or on behalf of the employees? What does that mean? And what does it pertain to?
So it includes any vehicles that would be used in regards to the training, whether they're owned by the agency. So, you know, if they were using their each party is going to maintain this insurance. So the city would have insurance that would cover all of their owned vehicles or vehicles that are used in the program, but which the city doesn't own. Same for the district.
Okay,
Vehicles such as?
I'll have to defer to the chief if the chief knows what kind of vehicles will be used for this program.
I mean, does this cover driving to and from work?
No.
Or does this cover vehicles used in the actual training? It seems pretty much an umbrella policy, but
It would be the vehicles that would be used in with regards to the program.
so if for instance, they took a staff car from here, they carpooled down, they would be covered, the staff car would be covered. But if they drove their own private vehicle, that would be a different issue.
Yeah, and they would have their own insurance for that. Correct.
Does that answer your question, Rich Bosman?
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right. The last one, which is probably the most concerning to me, is number 7, which is a transfer of sick and vacation leave. The city wants us to write them a check for the balance of the employee's vacation and sick leave. And I believe the intent of that was to bring these new employees over whole, as you know, hey, we're accepting your employees and we want them to come over with all the benefits that they had prior. My concern, the vacation piece is easy because we're required to cash that out anyway. Although I believe our collective bargaining agreement says that we will pay that to the employee, not to the city of Bellingham. And the sick leave was also negotiated in the last collective bargaining agreement. And it's a tiered amount that when you leave employment here, which is what they would be doing, they would be cashed out at what their sick leave bank is with a multiplier. And up to 500 hours is 25%, and I believe 500 to 1,000 is 50%. And then was there a third tier after that, Chief? Anyway, I have a little heartache with us just writing a check to Bellingham to these people for their full benefits when we have a collective bargaining agreement that explains that, how we deal with that. And maybe I'm off base. I don't know if Mr. Davis, if you have any thoughts or input on this divergent from our current labor agreement.
I don't have a concern with it as long as you're getting reimbursed by Whatcom County, and that's what I want to make sure. The final agreement to be signed with Whatcom County was not attached to the packet. And I want to make sure I'm looking at the correct one.
Sorry about that. Let me send that to you.
I think we ought to take a look at that because it should be cost neutral.
It is not included in the ILA with Whatcom County. It's their wages are included, but not their benefit package that would transfer with them when they go to Bellingham. So it would be an additional cost to the district to make that happen. And that's my opinion, but I'm not an attorney. And
well, and that's what I want to check, because if somebody left, they would let's say they just left today, they would get their cash out under the collective bargaining agreement. And so it ought to be the same effect if they transfer to the city of Bellingham. And I would think you'd want Whatcom County to reimburse you for those costs, which you wouldn't otherwise bear if the employee just left. That's what I am looking to see here when I get this Whatcom County agreement. If that's not the case, that's up to the board to decide. It's a business decision, but it would mean that you'd be paying more out of pocket than you would if the employee just left or went to any other agency and didn't go through this paramedic program.
And once you get that shipped off, Chief, I don't intend to take action on this one today. I think there's enough questions, at least in my mind, that we need to have clarified before we go ahead and give the chief the authority to sign this document. Another piece I'd like to see maybe included for us is that bridge back language from our local that says, hey, this requirement as a medic, I believe, is a 5-year requirement to Bellingham. So
Yes.
Let's say after 5 years, one of these employees decides that they want to come back to North Whatcom. Who knows? It would be nice. I'd kind of like to see some language from the local before we sign this agreement to kind of give that opportunity and what that would look like, how they would come back, where they would meld into the organization, and so forth. I think it's pretty easy language to craft. It's just a matter of whether the local is interested in doing that. Do you have any thought on that, Chief?
No, that's definitely, like I talked about earlier, that's something I'm interested in being able to get these people back should they want to come back to our agency. I did want to just add really quick that that Bellingham, the city, and the bargaining units, so both Bellingham's bargaining unit and our bargaining unit, are looking at this more. And I realize this is just semantics, but instead of us losing an employee, it's more of a consolidation. They're bringing these people over like it was a consolidation, and so that's where the bringing them across whole in vacation and sick leave. That was the push behind that article. So just so you're kind of aware of how the other party is looking at this. They're not looking at this as gaining a new employee. They're folding somebody into their organization already.
At no real cost to them.
Correct. The training costs have been absorbed by either Whatcom County EMS or in fire training, it's been absorbed by us.
Right.
And Commissioner Ansel and I spoke briefly yesterday about, what does this do for North Wacom? It does feel like we're losing employees and we're losing possibly our best and our brightest, but also there's a different way to look at it in that we're loaning them to a county, to an agency, or possibly giving them to an agency that is truly becoming countywide and county represented. And regardless of the patch they have on their sleeve, they're going to be serving our neighbors out in the county. In the future, their medic units could be in our stations. When our guys look across a patient during a tough call, they're going to see a guy they went to the fire academy with, or a guy they pulled shift with for years. These are going to be people that are rooted in North Wacom, that came from North Wacom, and yeah, they've got a BFD patch on, but we know them, and not that makes it better or takes away the sting of losing an employee, but it's still us contributing to the county system. You can look at it a little bit in Bellingham, and possibly Commissioner Ansel, based on your work experience, with the city of Bellevue, is you have the fire side and you have EMS side. And once somebody goes to the EMS side, they're kind of equal but separate, I guess. They're still in the same department, but they wear a different color shirt, and they go on different calls, same but different calls. And Bellingham has been the sole contributor to this system for a long time, and they've been losing their own. Now they have, because of the way it's structured, they can get them back. But this is really our first foray into this, and so I just wanted to provide maybe an alternate way of looking at it. Also, there is some benefit to always having new blood in an organization. It forces the guys to look at things new. Your lieutenants are constantly training new people, or maybe not new people, but junior firefighters, and they're having to hit the books just as hard as the new recruits or the new probationary firefighters. So it does, in some ways, it keeps us young, keeps us active. And I'm just trying to look at some of the good points of this as well, that there's a silver lining to every cloud. So just wanted to give you those thoughts.
And they're good thoughts, and I think it's a good program, and I think it's a good opportunity, and it could even draw some people to apply here, knowing that maybe in the future they could have an opportunity to become medics, or maybe they wouldn't even apply here. But there is a training cost and an investment. We've got a 4-year and a 3-year employee that will be leaving us here sometime probably next year. And that experience hurts to lose that. And as a board, in my opinion, we're the fiscal managers, and we have to be able to answer to the public why we're spending this extra money to do this. And so perhaps we need to negotiate that with the city of Bellingham to say, we appreciate that you want them to come across whole. We'll pay our share and you can pay the balance, rather than them paying 100%. Whether we cash out the employee and the employee has an opportunity to purchase those benefits back from the city. It sounds like the city would be amenable to that if they were given that opportunity. I'm just struggling with us writing a check to the city of Bellingham to keep benefits at a level that is greater than what was agreed upon in the collective bargaining agreement.
I understand. I understand. And you're correct. You do. You have to be able to answer to the taxpayer, and I agree.
I'm looking at section 3 under the county agreement, and there's a compensation figure maxed out at $103,000 per employee, and I wonder if we have reached that. And if not, if some of that buyout may come under that 103,000. I don't know where we at on that, but that may be a possibility.
I will reach out to my counterpart at the county and see if that's something that we can address.
What section are you looking at, Rich?
Number 3 under the county agreement. Whatcom County and North Watkin.
Okay.
Are you looking under the exhibit B, or?
No, I think he's paragraph 2 of section 3 on in the Whatcom County, North Whatcom, Iowa.
So the county agrees to pay 103,000 for each paramedic student. So I'm wondering if we've reached that, and if not, if some of that money that we're giving them for their payout can come from that figure.
As it's drafted, I would say it would not be able to go as to a cash out of vacation or sick leave, because it does talk later in that paragraph about payroll costs. So if the money is going to come either in whole or in part from the county to pay those cash outs,
Okay.
that would have to be changed. If part of it is going to come from, if the part that we're not obligated for is going to come from the city, then as Commissioner Ansel said, the city agreement could be modified.
Well, then I'd say it's definitely something we want to change in the future, get that straightened out, because as I've been listening to the discussion on this, I totally agree with Chief Vanderveen that there is, although we learned a lesson about signing the contract, the melding of department people is not a bad thing. And so there is a upside to this with our people going with Bellingham and the idea of the departments working together. I just think we need to make the contract a little bit tighter.
So the chief had suggested to me earlier that perhaps he and I meet with Chief Hewitt and discuss face-to-face some of our concerns and see if we can't work out an arrangement. And also, for me, I think if there was language from our local with this, bridge to return, that too would sort of take some of the sting out of this. Not that I'm expecting anyone to come back, but they might. I was a medic for a while, and there was a point where I wanted to do something different. And would I be able to come back to my original home agency, or am I happy in Bellingham now? Sometimes it really looks cool to go to another department until you get there. And you realize that, it wasn't so bad where I was. Maybe I could go back. I think there's a few items that we could work out that aren't insurmountable before we go ahead and move forward with signing this agreement with the city.
I think that'd be a great idea.
John or Scott?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I agree.
I agree.
All right, so we will hold off on that, and then like I said, I don't know if we want to talk to the county about this. It certainly wouldn't be a bad idea to speak with Mike Hilly about that piece, since we're kind of doing, with 2 ILAs, and I mean, it's another pot of money. It's taxpayers' money that's involved in this, and sometimes there's some wiggle room in the county's EMS budget to offset some of that as well. I believe we're the only other home agency participating.
Correct. Correct.
So we're not talking a huge sum of money, but it is an impact on us as a smaller district versus a county-wide levy amount. So I think it would be worthwhile giving Mike Hilly a call.
Will do.
Okay, item number 3 is the Division Chief Fire Marshal resignation. Chief, you have an update for us on that?
Yes, Division Chief Herschel Rostov resigned from the department effective last week. And in place of that, I am in contact, or I've contacted Henry Hollander, former division chief who was fire marshal here. He's agreed to come in and work on a as needed basis for us in the city of Blaine, and also helping with understanding mitigation agreements and letters. So he and I have already worked on a couple items. I've got him in contact with the people he needs to be in contact with. I have received an email from the county fire marshal's office, so hope to get together with them next week and discuss how we can work going forward, as well as in talking to Chief Hewitt. I've got a commitment to help or get some help from the city of Bellingham Fire Marshal's office in the interim. So where do we go from here? I need to do a job analysis, or I'd like to do a job analysis of how many hours does it take us. Do we need a fire marshal in the city of Blaine? What are their requirements? We've got that interlocal agreement has not been signed yet by us, and that will be at the August meeting that I need to become more familiar with, and then we'll make a determination as to what we do with that position going forward.
And also in the meantime, we've lost another responding chief officer.
Correct.
And how does that burden impact you?
I just get an extra week of duty. I'm working with Lyndon, with Chief Bill Meyer and Chief Hatley, and we've got the schedule hammered out to where it's least impactful to all of us. If need be, we'll take a day off here, a day off there. I've tried to keep them in the loop as much as I can to minimize the impact to them, as well as to myself.
That, no offense, that's my biggest concern is, we keep whittling away at your support, and I appreciate that former Chief Hollander has agreed to step back in the fire marshal assistance piece or plans review, but that doesn't relieve all the other responsibilities that have been piled on your plate. So I don't know if we're getting close to needing to advertise for some positions, or if we have an internal process, or what we intend to do.
To be really frank, I am holding off. I need to know what size department we're going to be going forward, and that's been kind of up in the air, and that makes it hard to do any future planning. So I think we're on the verge of getting some good clarification and knowing which way we're headed. But yeah, that's really been the holdup, is where are we going? It's been kind of hard to nail down in the recent past. So
Fair enough. Hopefully we can pass a resolution today that will start that clarification process. All right. John Crawford, you had asked to address staff training issue, and I apologize to Jenny for not finding out a little bit more information, and the chief, as to what exactly that meant. My bad for not following up, but could you enlighten us on what that's about?
We need to do a little more training with diversity as a whole in the department. Just an overall class for all involved. So I'd like maybe Kelly or the chief to go out and find somebody to bring in to give us a classroom session on that.
Chief, where are we in our SOPs and that issue?
One of the ones you have before you is a good chunk of the workplace harassment is workplace harassment, which is a chunk of the workplace expectations SOPs, policy. So that will be before you for approval in August, as well in the performance evaluation policy. If you read, which is also before you for approval in August, you'll see that there is a every year when someone gets their performance evaluation, they will be required to review and sign off that they've read any policies that pertain to diversity, sexual harassment, workplace expectations. So that's going to be an annual signature. That's not just. I realize that it sounds like we're just putting it on the employee, but that also means that it's incumbent upon the department to do annual training, which, to be really honest, has been kind of done in fits and starts around here. So I have been working with Laura McGowan Smith, who is an HR professional, about bringing in some training for different levels of employees. So, for instance, for our company officers, it would be how to spot and interact at the time, say a comment or an action were made. What do you do with that? What's your role as a supervisor? How do you stop that right away? And what's the reporting that goes behind that? So some of these trainings are going to come out for company officers, and then as well as department-wide training that would be, hey, don't do that.
Bruce, that's what I talked to Jason about last week. That's kind of what I'm going for, is something like that to bring somebody in so we cover all of our bases. Rich Davis may have more information, but there's been fire departments that basically it's, sign, walk away, and then later on down the road, they're finding some type of harassment claim against them. So I just want to cover all of our bases so we don't face that in the future.
Would there be a timeline that we could, and I know your plate is super full, but is there a timeline that and of course we've got this COVID thing where it's hard to get together, right, and train versus going into a Zoom classroom like all of the students are going to be doing next year. Do you have any?
Actually, this one's easy. It's an annual requirement. We haven't done it yet this year, so expect it to be done by December.
Okay, that work for you, John?
That's perfect. Yeah, like I said, I just wanted to face a harassment suit or be in the Bellingham Herald. So
sounds good. Anything we can do to help support you, Chief, in that endeavor, call John. John's the guy that gets things done. I'm excited about the Dakota Creek Bridge thing, so I'm going to start giving you all the work. All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Next item is Resolution 2020-13, forming a Regional Fire Authority Committee. It's time to move forward with this. The biggest thing we need to decide on is who is going to participate. Rich, you weren't here at our last meeting, and Scott and John and I have all volunteered to do that, unless you have some compelling reason why you would love to go to a dozen more meetings. You're muted, so you're gonna. There you go.
No, I'm fine with that agreement.
I don't know if we could. I mean, I'd always kind of like to have three of us there, and I mean, certain things come up, life, vacation, emergencies, etc. And I'd really like to keep this RFA process on track and moving forward, and not have to say, well, so and so can't make it, so we got to delay or move it around. So Mr. Davis, is it okay and I'll ask Rich Bosman too, to throw an alternate in if one of the three of us can't? And does that have to be written in the language here, or how would we do that?
Yeah, there's two ways to do it. You don't have to have all three present at an RFA planning committee in order to proceed. So let's say you only had two commissioners available, you could just send those two. Or alternately, if you want to have all three commissioners, or if you want to have a total of three commissioners present at each planning committee meeting, then you'd assign an alternate. And I'd recommend that you just do that by a separate board resolution. So that may change from time to time. You've got a vacancy to fill, and somebody may become unavailable. So rather than go back and revise this, you just do it by a separate resolution or motion. You could just do it by motion even.
Okay. So as it stands now, then we have this resolution before us. So I'll entertain a motion to either approve or decline this resolution, whichever you guys feel fit. I hope it's to approve.
So moved.
Okay. There's a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
All right, so discussion would be, we'll fill in the three names, myself, Commissioner Fisher, and Commissioner Crawford, for this document. And then I guess with the understanding that we could potentially have an alternate if needed, and that currently would be Commissioner Bosman.
Do you want to just put that as an amendment to the resolution then?
I would like to, unless,
Are you okay with that, Rich?
You can do that.
Yeah, I don't anticipate going into the meetings, and I'm not sure it would be advisable at this point, but I can certainly do that.
well, I'd just like to have that option. I mean, like I said, I don't want to derail this process if for some reason, maybe two of us were out and, I don't want to just send one person to have you as an alternate. So maybe we can have Jenny add an addendum under item 2. We hereby appoint the following three commissioners to the planning committee, and then one alternate, and put Rich Bosman's name in.
Why don't you add a new line and just say alternate in parentheses?
Okay. I'm sure Jenny's got that already done by now.
Probably.
Okay, so there's been a motion and it's been seconded and we've had some discussion. Is there anything else? I guess if we sign this, then we make contact with District 4 and start the process, yes?
Correct. You would set a schedule. First of all, you'd have an initial meeting and then ordinarily set a schedule or regular meetings to be held. Now you will have to do two notifications to the public. One will be a notification for the RFA Planning Committee and a separate notification for a special meeting of the board of District 21 for each of those planning committee meetings. And commissioners who are serving on the planning committee meeting just unfortunately get compensated just for the $70 per day and not their normal District 21 stipend. During our meeting here, Eric Quinn did reach out to me by email and suggested that I give him a call. The other thing that we haven't really talked about is in some of these RFA formations, there has been a facilitator that's been hired to kind of, move the process along, cheaper than an attorney. They kind of know the issues and I don't know if any talk has been given to that, but that might be a topic that you address at your initial planning committee meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be difficult for any one of us who doesn't have any experience at this, although I did sit on a committee years ago that failed miserably because there were like 5 or 6 entities at the table that couldn't agree on what color pens we should use. So I think that would be nice to have someone that is keeping us on track.
I'm working with North County right now, and they're using a facilitator from Seattle, who I've worked with before. There are others that you can use, but Karen Reed is the one who's working with them. She's also, I think, been retained by the city of Everett because they're considering formation of an RFA. So we can talk about that, and you can interview some of these consultants who might be able to help you through the process. I think it's money well spent. It's an investment. You want the process to succeed, and I think that it's worthwhile.
Good advice.
I just think that'd be a really good idea to have someone to give some leadership in this because, like we say, other than Bruce serving a short time on a committee, none of us really have any experience with this. And it's too valuable an opportunity, to let it pass because we don't know what they're doing. So I think it'd be a really good thing.
Especially since we're wanting to, I hate to use the word fast track this, but because I think we have so many things already taken care of, the big items, it would be nice to be able to get this before the voters next August. So
I also want to make it sure it's not that I don't want to be on this committee. I would love to be involved in this process, but one of the commissioners from District 4 has made it quite clear he doesn't want to talk to me. So I think that would just kind of throw a monkey wrench in the process. So that's why I'm hesitant to get involved. And just let the 3 of you handle that.
well, you can always watch the Zoom meetings.
It's either that or Netflix, huh?
Yeah. So, all right. Any further discussion? This is a great moment for our district. So, all in favor of Resolution 2020-13?
Aye.
It's unanimous. All right, we'll get that revised with an alternate and ready for signatures.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a policy and a resolution amendment, addendum, quick item here.
Did we skip the District 4 correspondence, or is that included in prior discussion?
That was our first topic.
Okay.
We bumped that up to the top of the list and hopefully managed everyone's concerns. We're moving forward with an RFA, so off we go. Resolution 2018-11 was the Fire Chief Financial Authority. I think we're going to have a brief amendment to that with Resolution 2020-14. And then the policy that it impacts has to do with the policies and procedures that don't have a financial impact on the district, so that the chief can sign these things without having to wait for us to review them and go through them if there isn't a fiscal impact. I still think we should look at them and know what's going on, but
Absolutely. Yep.
for him to be able to sign them, especially since, like I said, they don't have a financial impact, makes his job a little quicker and easier. So the 2020-14, what does that, just because it references the policy, is that why we are redoing that financial authority, or what happened there that's changed?
So
Rich, yeah, you had a,
that was approved by resolution the last time. So I think that another resolution to approve this amended policy is appropriate.
so the commission desires to amend the policy. I just want to make sure that we have the right number though. Okay, so did this policy number change? Because now it's 000400 and the other one was 01300. Sorry, I hate those zeros. Do we need to correct that number, or am I missing something here?
Let me look real quick. Hang on.
I think you also, if we're going to make corrections to it, Bruce and my name, they need to be switched for chairman and vice chairman.
Yes. Thank you. Good job. So in the resolution,
Sorry, the policy number in the resolution is incorrect.
okay. So the one on the
Policy.
policy, the 0100.0004.00 is the correct one.
Correct. Let me check one more thing real quick here.
I mean, we can,
Sorry, I'm just sorry for the delay here.
no, that's fine. It's not
Yes.
germane to us
Copy.
passing
Okay,
it as
perfect.
long as we correct it. Oh, you got a call.
Oh, I was waiting for the amazing Jenny she just corrected on the resolution. The actual resolution that you sign will say,
Pardon me? Uh-oh, she's,
She's got to get her key.
Oh. Yep. Okay. The resolution that you sign will say policy number 0100.0004.00. And also we will, the date and the attest will go down below as well for the formatting.
the 23rd day of July.
Yep.
And then Rich and I will switch places. Okay. The intent is just, basically, it's an amendment to the resolution allowing the chief to sign policies that don't have a financial impact on the district. So is there a motion to approve resolution 2020-14?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. And then the policy and procedure just requires one signature, and I would adopt or accept a motion to allow me to sign the new policy that specifies the chief being able to sign policies that do not have the financial impact on it.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, that does it here. Because it's a special meeting, we can't add anything that wasn't on the agenda. So we'll make arrangements to sign documents, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless there is any reason that Richard Davis or the chief needs an executive session after today's meetings, I don't think that will be necessary.
I don't have a need for one.
Me neither.
Okay. I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Thank you.
The signing of the documents, are you gonna be out this way, Jason, or,
I will.
you know?
I have to, not adding any new business, but I have to take the approved weight variances from the state to a couple pieces of apparatus up north. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So I will be up your way.
Do you know the time frame for that?
I'll give you a call. You asked me to call you anyway. I'll make a
Yeah,
call.
that'll work. Yeah, just give me a call.
Commissioner Fisher, I'll call you as well, and maybe we can meet at 63.
That sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah, just whenever you get out to 63, give me a call and we'll all meet.
Okay,
Social distancing, of course.
of course.
Of course.
Same with you, Commissioner Bossman. I usually hit you on my way home.
All right, all in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Meeting's adjourned 11:46. Thank you for your attention and coming in for a special meeting. Have a good weekend. I'm heading to Montana to go fishing.